Hello, and welcome to the first podcast of Borichamo. This is Adrian speaking, the founder of Borichamo, and I have the honor to be talking with Austin Kelly today. He is actually the founder of Christian Channel, and he has, well, a very special show in the works. Austin, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, thanks, Adrian, for having me on the show. I'm excited to be your first guest as a podcaster on the Borichamo. Well, by the way, where did you come up with that name? Such a great name. Is that Italian or is it Cuban? Where did that origin come from?
So people always ask me. I mean, Borichamo is it's been a long time I've had that channel name, but essentially the meaning of it is a conjunction of two things. It's Bori and Chamo. So I'm Venezuelan. I was born there, and then I was also raised in Puerto Rico. So Chamo is said in Venezuela for like dude, and then Puerto Ricans like to call themselves Boricua. So it's Bori Chamo. It's kind of like those two things together.
Nice. Well, that's super cool, man. And I'm super excited to be on your show. I saw some of your content. I was like, I got to reach out to this guy. I think he might like our new TV show that we're working on, and I don't mind hopping on and telling your audience what show we're producing in the next. Actually, the trailer is coming out in a couple of weeks, but the show, we're high intense, high quality show about the Crusades.
Yeah, and that's actually why I wanted to have you on, because I mean the channel's focused on history. I like to focus a lot on Catholic history. Because I feel like a lot of times it's maligned. It's maligned, and the Crusades, I feel like especially, can be victim to just all sorts of ridiculous rumors or exaggerations or whatever else. So I guess I kind of really wanted to ask you, I mean, why did you want to make a show about the Crusades? I mean, why, the title is Knights of the Cross. I mean, what made you want to do that?
I'm with you, man. The reality is we have to tell the real Crusade history and not the Hollywood Crusade history that you see on TV. And so, we reached out to an amazing YouTuber, J. Stephen Roberts, from the real Crusades history. We talked to him about a year ago. We said, hey, we're just a scrappy startup studio, but I could assemble the team and I could find a way to crowdfund some money and raise some capital to make your show, your YouTube channel, and take it to the next level, because he is by far the most famous YouTuber out there as of today, talking about the Crusades, and his audience is just amazing. And they come from both sides, right? There's two sides of the story. You have the Crusades story, and then you have the Saracen story, the Muslim story. And so he merges two of those stories together, and that's something that Hollywood doesn't do. Hollywood, I could tell you, because I'm in those meetings at NBC, or when I'm in those elevator meetings, so Austin, tell me the show. What are you doing? And I'm like, it's like the one that we're working on. They're like, and I just say, it's Game of Thrones, no nudity.
So there is a focus on like the history. There is a focus on the more intricate sort of faith reality of that, and there's also not the kind of indulgence in the kind of ridiculous sometimes that happens on these big TV shows. So that's really interesting. And I guess I mean, did you have a personal do you have like a personal story with that? Do you have a personal story with the Crusades, or is this just something that you found interesting?
I wish I had an elaborate story to tell you, but we're working on multiple projects right now. So we're in the middle of our crowdfunded movie called Eucharistic Miracles. So that production company is over in Italy, interviewing some special people about the Eucharistic miracle, some famous blessed people. I can't say who's going to be in the movie, but it's an all-star Catholic cast. And with Knights of the Cross, it's such a different project. It's not a documentary. This is a narrative. I mean, these are real swords. These are real costumes. These are real men, masculine men getting bucked off these horses, and the horses are even authentic. I mean, they are Arabian horses and Spanish horses. We didn't just pick them up, and we had the option to pick some horses up in Michigan, but we found an amazing trainer in Southern California, where we shot the trailer and the pilot to Knights of the Cross, and it's the most authentic Catholic, or actually just the most authentic Crusade TV show ever produced, as far as I know, to be so accurate with the wardrobe and the storyline and, you know, the authenticity of it. Because Southern California, where we film, it's huge, and there are deserts here, and it does look like the Holy Land. So we're very fortunate and blessed, even during COVID, to film in such a beautiful location, a secret location with waterfalls and rocks. And then we had these beautiful sand dunes in Brawley near Mexico, where infamously, you know, if you've seen Star Wars, the original one, the very first one, where the droids are walking through the sand and they see a skeleton, we were there.
Big dinosaur thing.
Yeah. We were definitely there, and it was not an easy production, to tell you the truth. It was about 20 men carrying and lifting, including myself. I mean, even as a producer, you have to roll up your sleeves and go out in the stand. And I was actually, I shouldn't even be saying this, but I was actually one of the guys holding the cameras in the back, pressing record. So it was you know, we did, I mean, for what we produced for $30,000, I mean, the budget, this could have easily been $100,000, but we're really clever, and we have such an amazing team. And to be honest with you, everyone worked for free, even Bug Hall, you know, and everybody worked for free except for some, you know, hired guns. But we're very Catholic. We're a very Catholic production company. About more than half the people on set are Catholic. And then the rest of them are just super talented Hollywood freelancers that they know the potential of the show, and it's getting a lot of buzz around town, especially in HBO. I mean, so to go back to, because my job is finance and raising funds wherever I could find it, but you have a big problem in Hollywood about skewing stories. So I'm sure you've seen shows, I don't want to name shows, but you know, that about the Crusades, but they say, oh, you know, a typical financier, the guy that's funding the movie, would say, don't make it too Christian-y, or like, let's add some more sex scenes, because it's kind of a boring shot. So we're doing the best we can right now. That's why I'm so happy you had us on, have this on this podcast to spread the word, because we are in the middle of crowdfunding. And how you could support to do that is if you go to thechristianchannel.com, and if you don't know how to spell that, it's right there. Just go on thechristianchannel.com, click crowdfund films, and you know, you could donate $35 for the first season, or you could donate all the way up to $100,000 to really be involved in the show and co-star with some amazing, talented, credible actors and stuntmen. So the tiers are there. You know, what I love about the internet and what we've seen with our other projects with Eucharist is you've had donors that will spend more than $10,000 to be in your movie, and you have donors that just support the cause of making authentic Catholic content, Catholic cinematic movies, and will donate $35. So the range is there. And to answer a lot of questions is, why not put this on Kickstarter? Why not put this on Indiegogo? And quite frankly, the reason why is financial. You know, they take a percentage that people don't talk about, between 20 to 40%. Depending where you live, and then they send you a 1099. So if we raise $1 million, we're really left with like $300-400 grand for production. Financially, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So building a studio like Christian Channel Studios, we built our own website, we built our own streaming app, we partnered up with every big boy you could think of. And to be honest with you, they're very excited. Distributors love the fact that we're independent, because they see a lot of, they just see like, wow, they know, distributors know, there's a hunger out there. And I'm just very blessed to be a part of this new movement. I mean, go back to Star Wars. I kind of feel like we're the Rebel Alliance, and we're facing the Empire. And the Empire, what are they doing? They're producing content that's vulgar. They're producing content that is not true, and quite frankly, blasphemous of the faith. I mean, I could name, sorry to call him out, Martin Scorsese with The Last Temptation of Christ. I mean, that was a blasphemous movie. So, and he says it was completely blasphemous in his interviews, and it's blasphemous because the financier told me to make it blasphemous, because that's how he got the money. So we're going back to this new crusade, this new world that we're entering into, which is called digital, YouTube, and streaming, and allowing viewers like you, being creative and Christian, to raise your voices and to actually have a camera and to get people together to support your channel as a Patreon and your content. So we're in this new world, and we're on a crusade. I guess there's a lot of symbolism behind Knights of the Cross, but we're on a crusade to make authentic Catholic movies, and which I think Hollywood hasn't done in over 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that need for it because, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, there's so much, like you're saying, there's so much content out there that it's really just going, off the deep end. It's not even representing any truth in it. There's nothing substantial to it, and oftentimes it's it's needlessly offensive. It's all these different things. I guess I want to sort of my channel that's kind of why I made it, because it's I wanted to tell these beautiful stories. I mean, these untold stories, even just looking, in our own backyards. I mean, sometimes the stories, the history behind it is so authentic. It's so beautiful. I mean, I was very shocked. I mean, the history of the United States. I mean, there's so much stuff even before it that Spanish coming in, to the New World. I mean, there's so much history there that is untold or is kind of misconstrued. It's skewed. And I guess I kind of wanted to ask, how would you want to, what's the plan for maintaining historical accuracy, Unites the Cross, in the show? What's the plan for that?
Wow. It comes down to the people involved in the project. And so, the guy crusading the writing is J. Stephen Roberts, who is the YouTuber from The Real Crusades History. And so right before we started this project, I knew I can't write a TV show about the Crusades because I know nothing about them. You have to pick the right people for the right project. Just like when we select freelance cinematographers or DPs, usually they have a portfolio of what movies they were in, right? So the same thing goes with writers. And picking the right writers for the team. So I view myself as the coach of the Christian channel, and I let the content artists and the writers, work together, and the stuntmen work together. I think that's what's really unique about the Christian channel is we don't shut people down. We're all here to make authentic content and to be as honestly, quite frankly, I can't wait to go through the images with you, but badass. I mean, this is a real kick-ass show. If you're a guy and you want to see the truth about the Crusades, I mean, this is the show. It's as the quality is like the kingdom of heaven. I mean, the camera equipment and the lighting, these are hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment that we own or we rented from. And the guys behind the camera are veterans. They've been doing this for over 7, 10, 25 years in the Hollywood entertainment industry. So, like I said, I can't do all this on my own. It really takes a team. I'm just, I guess I'm just the coach of the Christian channel, really. They say the founder, CEO, I'm just the coach. I say, okay, Joe, J. Stephen Roberts, I call him Joe. His short name's Joe. It's like, okay, so what episodes are we cranking out? What's episode 1 going to look like? What's the last episode? What's the climax? And I think we all know, I mean, the whole story of Knights of the Cross, spoiler alerts, the whole story is Richard versus Saladin, the most badass Muslim Saracen ever versus Richard the Lionheart from England. Some spoiled brat from England who's I believe French. His mom was French. Who was a womanizer and he was a brawler and he just loved war. I mean, what greater history? And then the final climactic scene of the Battle of Jaffa. So that's why the budget of the show, it is a small budget of 1.5 million, but the locations we've selected because of COVID are all in the United States. The goal, when we get funds, if we could go to Spain, I mean, we talked to the line producers over at, what's that show called? What's that show that they filmed that was really popular? Game of Thrones. So the sets, so the castles over there, we have connections, and because the affordability of Spain, we want to film in Spain, and also to take street cred, like, oh, we also filmed in this castle too, not just Game of Thrones. So no, we're ready to film wherever. Because of COVID, we have castles in North America. You were just saying earlier how diverse this country is. I mean, if you have castles. I lived in Montreal, Canada, and I spoke a little French. You wouldn't believe the French lived in North America, but there's castles up there, and there's castles in Mexico, there's castles in here in North America. So whatever happens, I think the important thing is to get the word out about the show, to tell the world that we're authentically Christian and that we really want to make an authentic show about the Crusades. So I think, what you're doing in your channel, Adrian, is really beautiful, because you get to help support, and your audience gets to see what real Crusade history looks like, and not the Hollywood Crusade history.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important to try and get that out there. I mean, that message is so important, and I'm so glad to hear that you have a lot of focus on the historical accuracy. J. Stephen Roberts' Real Crusades history is something that I always was really interested in learning about. And his channel's always been great. Yeah, and I guess I just wanted to ask, is there, was there a sort of some breaking point? Was there something that made you want to found the Christian channel? Was because you've been in the industry for a long time, and like you're saying, you could have gone for something with more mass appeal. You could have gone, something a little bit bigger. But you always focus on this this Christian content, this Catholic content. I guess why did you want to make the Christian channel?
That's like my favorite question. No, there's a lot of opportunities to make money. I think if you Google me and you find out who I'm friends with, I could have easily created the comedychannel.com and partnered up with Joe Rogan, Tim Dillon, and Ari Manis, and those guys in the comedy world. But what really happened was I was working for a gentleman in the e-commerce world, and I made my background's advertising. I've been doing advertising for over almost 10 years now. And I made this gentleman about $250,000 a week. And he was never happy with how much money I gave him. And I got down on my knees, I started praying the rosary, and I said, God, how can I use my talent to serve you, to spread the word of God, and not, work for this ungrateful, I don't want to demean this guy, but this ungrateful guy who I make him all this money and he's still not happy. And, as people, just human beings, it doesn't matter how much money you have, because if you fill that hole with something, whether it's alcohol, drugs, money, you're missing God. That's the ultimate truth. So when I started Christian channel, I didn't have much money in my name. I had $3,000 to buy a domain called christianchannel.com. And I put all my money. I had no money. And to be quite honest with you, it was scary because I was walking in the park. I just developed a basic website for pre-order streaming. And I was doubting myself. I was like, oh God, this wasn't meant to be. I'm such an idiot. What was I thinking? And then the moment I doubted, I got an order for $99 and it was like a flame just exploded inside of me to, okay, now I'm ready for work. Cause my idea actually $99, but it's just such a big concept. It's something to tackle, but almost literally 11 months later, we have our first movie, Eucharistic Miracles. We raised over $341,000 for that project, and now that project's in development. It's it's a big documentary, a big release that a lot of people are looking forward to. And Knights of the Cross, we're raising 1.5, and I've been very blessed to meet a lot of Let's talk about this for a second. The finances. If we only reach a $250,000, we're still making the show. We're still only making one episode. But that gives me enough, I'm very blessed to know people from Goldman Sachs and other equity, an equity route where we could raise $3 million for the show. So, God has put a lot of people in front of us. Hollywood, I keep on repeating this, but a lot of people from HBO, a lot of actors, I don't want to say names, but they heard about Christian Channel. They're like, we're excited. We want to be a part of that project. It's just, I'll do it for free. I just want to be on the show. So it's kind of like I don't know if you ever remember the show Entourage from
Entourage.
HBO. Yeah, but I mean those guys reached out to us and they're like, we want to be a part of the show. I'm like, you're in The Sopranos. What are you doing on? Why do you want to be on a night show? So there's no, we want to be a part of it. So it's just, I think as a guy, we're just naturally drawn to badass projects. So I if you don't mind, I'm gonna let you take the lead, Adrian. But I just want to show people what the show, just to give them a taste of what the show looks like.
Yeah. So I mean, you've been so nice to send some sneak peeks, some little pictures, and I guess I just wanted to go through a little bit of them and just ask you what went in to make them. What's kind of going on in the pictures. Yeah, let's get into it. So
Cool.
we got them right here. So we got the
Wow.
first picture right here. I mean, we got this knight on a horse. I mean, Austin, what is going on here? Please inform us.
Well, this is a Saracen. That's an Arabian. That's a real Arabian horse. It's not an animatronic. No, that's a real Arabian horse, and that character is a Saracen who's chasing a countess. And so what we're seeing here is Richard the Lionheart has heard rumors that a countess was kidnapped by one of Saladin's men. So this is, I believe, one of Saladin's men chasing the countess in the trailer that's coming out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, these are all pictures. These are all screenshots of the trailer. So I mean, it's very exciting to see these pictures before the trailer's even out. I mean, do you know when this trailer's coming out? is there a date?
Yeah, I guess there is a date. We're launching it probably May 24th, which is a Monday. Mondays are great to start your crowdfunding campaigns, to build momentum online and for the world to know. So by Friday, everyone, millions of people have watched the trailer, or hundreds of thousands have watched the trailer, and just super excited. So Monday, May 24th seems to be like, we're about 90% certain that that's the date. You have to understand we're still in the middle of editing and coloring and sound effects and a lot of bad. I mean, the best comparison I could tell you about this trailer, if you like Gladiator, you're gonna like this trailer.
Oh, I love Gladiator. I watched it the other day, and it was, I mean, that movie's crazy. I mean, but it's cool because Gladiator has, some of the historicity of it is just kind of crazy. It's not that accurate, but it's still a good movie. You know what I'm trying to say here? But what I'm seeing from this picture right here is that, I mean, this knight looks like he's been pulled from from the first, from the third, from the Crusade. So I mean, what's right. Going on with this picture?
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. So this is the story of the Crusades. I mean, why Richard was there is because a lot of devout Catholics were visiting the Holy Land, and they would get kidnapped by some Saracens. And those Saracens, they say, join or die. We're either or how much money. I mean, look at today, and look, I don't want to say about today's modern culture, but it feels like history hasn't really changed much, right? So it's kind of like you have a real man, real king in England, King Richard the Lionheart, going over there to protect these innocent people who just want to go to the Holy Land. So this is a scene, and just to talk about that outfit is not cheap. that outfit is the real deal. That's real chainmail. That shield is the same exact shield you're going to see in the Third Crusade. That belt's real. The tent in the background is all this stuff, guys. Is comes from a society of I want to say of Renaissance reenactors in Michigan, and they brought all this equipment from Michigan. They did a whole road trip to bring it to Southern California. And obviously we had to pay for it, but it was, that devotion of that time. We didn't pay these guys to be on the show, but they did it because they were in love with the history of the Third Crusade. So this story, this part right here is an action scene, similar to like I said, go back to Gladiator, when, Russell Crowe is fighting in the Colosseum. This is a very similar action scene where one of the Templars, I believe that's played by Kyle Potts, a stunt coordinator, who's about to save the Countess in that scene. Who I believe the Countess is in the tent.
And then this is the Countess?
That is the Countess. Isn't she beautiful?
It's amazing. I love the lighting. I love the detail. I mean, it looks really nice. And I like that it's, personally, I'm liking that it's colorful, but it's not, super bright, but it's not gray. I'm liking the warmth of the image. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, this show could have easily been like 300. It could have been very cartoony, very cheesy, but we went with a look, and we have great camera equipment that captures, I want to say like the Kingdom of Heaven look. I don't know if you agree with me, but it feels like the Kingdom of Heaven. And that's the kind of,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
it does have that feel about it, but I feel like it looks a little bit better because it's got a little bit more color to it.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And that actress right there, her name's Jackie, and she's such an amazing actress. She's never, no, I take that. She's an actress, but she actually is a good friend of ours that we met. She actually owns the horses, and she owns a horse ranch in Temecula, California. So she has, those Arabian horses she personally owns those, and she has a wonderful business in wine country where she takes, folks that are drinking wine and that want to get behind a horse. Like, she's the gal to do the tours in Temecula.
There you go. A little behind the scenes on the actresses, a little behind the scenes on the lighting, we're getting a nice little view into Knights of the Cross, the Knights of the Cross world here. We got another picture right here. This is what is going on here, Austin, please. What is going on?
Probably one of my favorite scenes. This is an actual, this is Kyle Potts, the Templar that was in the earlier photo. He gets knocked out. I mean, this guy gets knocked on the floor. He's all bloodied up. This is a scene where I suggested to everyone on set, I told Kyle, because I was there on production, I said, why don't you do the sign of the cross? And at this scene, he's praying, and he goes, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. I don't think I've ever seen that on a Crusader show, but I'm happy I made that suggestion because in the trailer, it looks so cool.
Awesome. It's really awesome. Let's check out this. What is going on here? This seems pretty intense.
So this is I'm spoiling this trailer so bad. Sorry to your fans.
No, it's what it's all about. That's why we're here. Okay. Exclusive content.
So exclusive. Please, if you don't want to get spoiled, please subscribe, but don't watch the rest of this video. No, this is this is one of the Saracens. This is played by who's playing there? Spencer. Spencer's a great actor, and I told him on set, I was like, listen, man, you look like an action figure. When we do these toys, you're definitely gonna be an action figure. So Spencer is the gentleman in the brown. He knocks out one of the Templars, and we see Richard the Lionheart saving the day at that scene.
Oh wow, that looks really cool. And then we got our last picture.
Oh man, you want to see some badass Saracens? This is one of the Saracens who's just sniping all the the Hospitallers that's guarding the Countess. So this actor is played by Doug, who is actually works for the Navy. So a lot of these guys on set, Adrian, they have a military background. So fighting and violence, like those bows and arrows, I mean, those are real bows and those are real arrows. There was an instance on set where I'm not gonna say who, but somebody gave our actors, our stuntmen, an actual arrow, which we were practicing. I mean, if he would have used, I had to stop them. But that's why producers on set like, hey, God, what are you doing? So yeah, I had to stop. I'm not gonna say who, but there's a lot of people don't think that they thought they were fake, and we had to swap them out with a dummy. But if it was that's not a real one, but we used real ones for authenticity. Somebody would have went to the hospital, and this show probably wouldn't even be made. So I'm glad I was on set to protect the actors and the stuntmen, but you have to be very cautious because these are real swords, these are real bows, these are real arrows, these are real horses. So and these are veterans in the stunt industry. So even though some of us foul up sometimes, and I'm not going to point fingers on set, but people mess up, and so I'm glad there's 20 guys out there making sure we don't make dumb mistakes. But yeah, sorry, too much behind the scenes. But yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes where you see the Saracens really go at it with how badass they are too. I mean, they didn't just lay there. I mean, they fought. So I'm really glad we portrayed them in a good light as well.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most incredible things about the Crusades is that you really see I mean, on both sides, it's this warrior mindset, and it's this thing that I feel like a lot of people don't understand. I mean, a lot of these figures are larger than life. I mean, Richard the Lionheart, Saladin. I mean, these people who are going to be on the show. I mean, some of them just feel like it's sometimes these things kind of write themselves, and sometimes you read this, you read the history, you read what's going on, and you're like, did that actually happen? Because sometimes truth is crazier than fiction. I mean, yeah. Well, so like, what's the creative vision for Knights of the Cross? How did that kind of play in that sort of great mandrake bone that's kind of going on here during the Crusades?
Yeah, the long-term vision for Knights of the Cross is to obviously continue the series. I mean, we have such an amazing team. Like I said before, on movie sets or on a TV show set, you want to make sure everyone on set, works well together. And I'm telling you, even Bug Hall, who's been doing this since he was 8 or 11 years old, back in the Little Rascal days, he even mentioned, he was like, wow, the energy on this set is fantastic. And it's because everyone gets along really well. So everybody on set, everyone in front of the camera, behind the camera, that team, they want to do this for the rest of their life. I mean, really, until they get old and, it's like they can't do it anymore. But the way I describe the show, it's the first season is definitely going to be Richard versus Saladin. I can't speak on season 2, but I know the chemistry, just for me to tell you, the chemistry is so good that I believe there might be a movie after this, after season 1 of Knights of the Cross. I think after season 1, my distribution partners like AMC and Cinemark, they want a movie. And so I think if the fans support this show, and they support the movie, you're gonna get a badass movie. So I'm just, the first season is Richard versus Saladin. After that project, I'll be 99% sure there's going to be a movie afterwards, because Cinemark and AMC want it. They see it. I talked to them too, and they definitely want something like that. So it's something that in the works, everybody knows about. Now your audience knows too.
Yeah, I mean, there's big plans for this series, maybe a movie. I mean, it's very cool. Everyone's very excited for the trailer. I mean, it's all very, very, very exciting. I guess I wanted to ask, how can people help out? How can people help out with this? You've kind of touched on it a little bit, but let's get into it.
Well, thanks. Appreciate that. They could go to thechristianchannel.com and click on crowdfund films. You're going to see Knights of the Cross. You could donate $35 for your digital season 1 digital access, or you could donate all the way up to, I believe, $5,000 to be in the show. I do want to shout out to there are a lot of celebrities coming on the show, a lot of famous YouTubers. I think Adrian and I talked off air that are going to be in the show, make some funny cameos. But like I said before,
some exciting names dropped.
Oh yeah. I mean, this show is, what I love about crowdfunding is the fans get to be involved. And I think this is the first time in history where we get to see Hollywood actors, be in the same production, in front of the camera, dressed up in night gear, with their favorite actors. So, I mean, you see Bug Hall, he's a great actor, and there's some other credible actors, like I said before, from other TV shows that want to be on the show too. So it's just a lot of great support. And how you can support this project is go to thechristianchannel.com and select a pledge that you feel comfortable selecting, that you want, to help get the show get made. Regardless, to your audience, there will be, if we don't reach our goal of 1.5 million and we only reach $250,000, we're going to make episode 1 as our pilot. And then I have to go do my producer job and get some big boy funding.
Yeah, I mean, that's the good thing, is that you want to try and get it done no matter what. I mean, you have a nice vision to it. I like the attention to historicity. I like the commitment to keeping it Catholic, keeping it Christian. That's all very, very important stuff. And I guess, I mean, I'm just really excited to try and see some of these huge, figures, these huge, larger than life figures come to life on the screen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's very, very exciting. I also wanted to have actually one of my patrons sent in a question to you. So Anna asks, what was the costume process like in terms of designing and making the costumes? What kind of research did you do to make sure that they were accurate? That comes from Anna.
Thank you so much, Anna. And I love that question. Okay, so the costumes, like I said before, I am not a historian. I'm not a costume person, but we hire the best people to do it. So we partnered up, not wouldn't say partnered, but we reached out to the Monarchs in Michigan who do reenactments. And the Monarchs have a custom costume designer for the actual cloth for the project. And the helmets are made over in Poland, because we know how devout Poland is, devout Catholics. Polish people are usually Catholic. But those guys, all the helmets are made in Poland. And some of them, I mean, some of the best helmet makers are in Poland or in Russia. So that's where they get custom made, over in Poland and Russia. They love the Crusades too. And then all the wardrobe, all the custom wardrobe is usually from the Monarchs, and the swords are from the Monarchs Society. And you know, the authenticity comes from Joe and Kyle Potts, who collaborate on the costumes. So I'm just really blessed to have these guys a part of the project. And I know, and just to give you Hollywood inside secret, months ago, back in September, we went to the movie studios to pick out some costumes, and the fans were not happy because the movie studios, you know, these are hand-me-downs. I mean, there's some stuff from Gladiator that just didn't fit within theme. So this trailer that we're launching in a couple weeks, this is the authenticity of the show. There's not some, you know, random sword. I mean, these are really well thought out props and costumes specifically for this show. And we're really blessed to have such an amazing team to be a part of it. So I think if you're a historian or, you know, history buff, you're going to love the show. And what you can do is to support the show. Click on, you know, if you could support $35 for the show, 100% of the funds do go to the show. They don't go to me, and they don't go to the Christian channel. They go strictly for the show. And it goes back to financing. I mean, if you went to Kickstarter, they take about 40%. That's not good. So if you support the show, 100% of the financing goes to the show. So thank you for your question, Anna. Hope I answered it.
Thank you, Anna, for the question. If anybody else wants to ask a question, you know, become a patron, and, you know, you have early access to some of the interviewees that we have in for the podcast, and you get to ask questions like these. Yeah, Austin, I mean, it seems it's all super exciting. Knights of the Cross seems like a really nice project. I think the audience is going to be very excited about this, and I'm personally just really waiting on the trailer. That's what I'm really excited about. We got to see some good screenshots of it. Yeah, we got to see some good screenshots of it. So that's very cool. It's very cool. I think it's going to be a really nice project once it gets going. And yeah, you guys, if you guys are able to, you know, support Christian channel, you know, and you're going to have a really nice alternative to Netflix or to some of these other streaming services.
Yeah, you know, the content that we have on the Christian channel, we have hundreds of, let me be very specific, hundreds of Catholic movies. Repeat that, hundreds of Catholic movies. I mean, the reason why that we started this is because I feel like, including myself, to go back to the faith, is I was a lukewarm Catholic my whole life. I didn't understand the rosary. I thought that was for my grandma or for my mom. I'm a man, I don't pray the rosary, but I'm telling you, the rosary for me, if it wasn't for the rosary, I wouldn't be on this podcast with you. I think the Virgin Mary has definitely played her hand on this one. There's been a lot of obstacles that I don't announce publicly, but, you know, praying novenas and praying the rosary every day. And a lot of people make fun of me, even in the Catholic world. I go to adoration every day. I try to go to mass every day as much as I can. But we have to be there with the Lord. If we're doing the Lord's work, you know, there's definitely going to be some obstacles, and there has been. I would be lying to you if I told you that this was an easy process. It's making movies for Christ and making movies. There's, you know, if you don't have to listen to me, I think when these projects are done, I could publicly announce what went down. But, look at the commentary of Passion of the Christ. Look what happened to Jim Caviezel. Like, these events happen. So definitely, I believe spiritual attacks have happened. I think publicly in our movie Eucharistic Miracles, even our actor Ray Grijalba announced there is a lot of spiritual attacks. So I pray my binding prayers. I go to adoration every day, but this is all for a good cause. And I really believe right now is the time to make Christian content, because, if you look at Netflix or you look at other streaming platforms, I like Netflix. I like Amazon. I like all the other guys, but you have to, for us at Christian Channel, I'll tell you a little insight. We don't run any ads on the Christian Channel. I come from advertising. I feel like ads ruin the experience. We don't take hundreds of millions of dollars from preachers. We've been offered. If I was in it for the money, I'd be a millionaire, and I would be taking money from big mega church preachers because they offered it to me. That's not what we do here. We make cinematic, original Christian Catholic movies for the Christians and Catholics out there that want to know the truth of our faith and want to know about the Eucharist and want to know the true stories about the Crusades. So the shows and projects, the original series that we're producing are for the church, for our for the lay people, for all of us that go to church, that we're just sick of what's on the news. And I mean, are you surprised that Church Militant is becoming successful? Are you surprised that Dr. Taylor Marshall is becoming successful? All he's doing is saying things that people have been saying for thousands of years, and he's somehow controversial, or Church Militant being controversial. They're just speaking the truth. And I feel like with Christian Channel, we just want to speak the truth through cinema. And like I said before, there's two parts of this. There's the financing and distribution. The distribution, they like me. They see, when they see me, they're like dollar signs. But the other part is this: the financing. I told you I could easily go to these bigger studios and they'll give me the money to produce a product. But the problem is, then they put their input. Don't make it too Christian-y. Put more sex. What are you thinking? Don't do that. So we're getting a lot of outside influence. And what I love about this new world we're in right now that you're doing, Ed, you're a pioneer of YouTubing and podcasting. And I'm so happy to be your first guest. This is this new world of content creators. So I wouldn't be surprised when Adrian gets 10,000 to 100,000 subs. Like, Austin, I got this great idea for a movie. Let's put it on the Christian Channel. I'm like, let's do it. So I'm just here to collaborate with anybody that's Christian or Catholic that wants to take their ideas and make it into a cinematic movie. And we're just the right studio. We own the equipment. We don't, and obviously I have big vision, big dreams. Like, the equipment we have, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Obviously we want to be as good as Warner Brothers, but we still use the same cameras, but I want to be a par, and I love Warner Brothers. And, I have some family history at Warner Brothers. So if you see Christian Channel look like HBO or Warner Brothers, there's a reason why. It's because my family has been a part of that for over 30 years. So I'm a big fan of Warner Brothers, and shout out to them.
That's great. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying. I mean, you're from California, right? I mean, there's a lot of spiritual attacks there. And I mean, it sounds like to make the show has been a little bit of a battle. It's been a little bit of a crusade in and of itself. And I mean, I'm not surprised, because there's so much that goes against you when you're trying to do something for Christ, do something for God. I mean, it's always so much backlash, so much stuff's going on. And I mean, personally, I know kind of how you feel too, because this channel, I'm very glad to make. Like, it wasn't ever, if it wasn't for me taking my faith more seriously, me trying to really learn about my faith, then none of this would be happening. So I mean, it's all thanks be to God. I mean, it's truly like that. And do you feel like you've been strengthened through this process? Do you think you've learned a little bit more about yourself and a little bit more about how to be a stronger man during this process? What
a great question. We're getting deep. We're getting so deep into the faith. Yeah, I mean, what these obstacles have done in my life personally, like the attacks we've all been experiencing, it brings me closer to Christ. I mean, it's so sad to hear, even within our team, to be making fun of people that go to adoration every day. That doesn't sound very Catholic. So what it's done is it brings me closer to Christ, and I feel like the more, I'm not going to lie to you, Adrian. My life goal is to be the saint of streaming. If I could be the saint of streaming, I won.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
First of a kind.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you're the first one to hear it. Your podcasters, your audience knows now the secret. But no, this process has brought me closer to the church, and there's a lot of Catholic actors out there, and I talk to them every day, Adrian, and they want to be a part of the Christian channel. They're just looking for the right script, and they're looking for the right project. There's a lot of them. So the actors you see on TV secretly are Catholic. Bug Hall was on our trailer. He has a devout, he's living the faith, a devout life of poverty. He announced it to the whole team. He announced it on Church Militant the other day. I'm happy that we could be a platform for Catholic actors that want to be a part of this project. And I do have a story to tell you about how awesome it is to have Bug Hall. When we first talked about the project, I got an email from a pledger, and the email was from his mom. And his mom was like, "I'm so happy to see my son be in a Catholic film and to be in a Catholic TV show with his friends." And it's so heartwarming to hear your mom compliment you as an actor. And he could do whatever he wants. I wish the best for him. But I know he's living the faith, and they will probably be using another actor playing Richard in the future, because he's Bug has his own projects he's working on. He's living the Saint Joseph life, and I really appreciate that about him.
I mean, when you get a compliment from your mom on your acting, that's how you know you made it. That's how you know you made it. You could be in Little Rascals, you could be Alfalfa, but I mean, when you made your mama proud, that's how you know. That's how you know.
Yeah, and I think, shout out to all the moms out there that been supporting the Christian channel, because when we did Eucharist, it's so funny. When I went to Latin Mass, our producers here, and I think you met him behind the camera. I went to Latin Mass in, I now live in the studio's in Utah now. We're not in LA anymore, but we went to Latin Mass, and our producer's mom knew who I was. "Are you the guy from Eucharistic Miracles?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm kidding." I was surprised she knew who I was. I was like, I'm just there with my girlfriend going to Mass, but she's awesome. And, that's why I say shout out to the moms out there that, supported Christian channel, because I think moms know, because they filter the content. We have thousands of people subscribe to the Christian channel. And the only reason why they're subscribed is because they tell me, "I love what you're doing. You save so much." Because a lot of parents go on YouTube, and what happens on YouTube, they're watching a great kids show, and then what's suggested next? PewDiePie, who's not those, who says curse words and stuff. So, it saves moms and other people a lot of time when they could feel comfortable saying, "Oh, I'm just going to put it on the Christian channel and put on autopilot. I'm good." It takes a lot of stress out of a parent's life.
Yeah, I mean that's for sure. That's for sure. But I mean that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm glad to hear that this has been something fruitful for you spiritually, something that's helped you with your faith. Because I mean, truly, I think as Christians, as Catholics, I mean, we all know that when you try and walk and do something for Christ, I mean, when you try and walk with Him, I mean, that means you're gonna be persecuted. You're gonna be ridiculed. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes in there. There's a lot of spiritual warfare that is involved, and so to brave that is truly to grow in virtue, to grow, as men, to grow in that manly virtue of courage. So it's I mean, it's very cool to hear about that, because when you yourself are learning about this, you kind of have a further appreciation for the the historical figures who had to do, I mean, so much. And in some ways they were so different from us, but in some ways not very different at all. I mean, some of the same problems when it comes to faith, when it comes to courage.
I love what you just said, which is we're all men growing in our faith, and we're all trying to, but I feel like this streaming is the new platform for us as men. I mean, Father Calloway has his new book, Saint Joseph, right? I'm not going to say their name, but I was at a very influential Catholic public speaker we were filming the movie Eucharist, and I was at his house, and he told me, and we both went back and forth, the future of distribution content. How many of us, I can tell you myself, I have many Catholic books in my living room. Ask me how many of them I read.
How many?
1 or 2. I have like 30. Right, exactly. But I'm probably like every average Catholic. We have a ton of books in our apartment or in our houses, but we don't have the time to read them. Or I don't, maybe I'll listen to Audible. I feel with streaming, and I was at this Catholic influencer's house, like very famous, been doing it forever. He said, "You're right. Movies is the only way to get through people." And with that's the overarching mission that we have in Christian Channel. And I'm saying too much information, but it's the truth. And I feel like to go forward with our show, Knights of the Cross, is to tell the truth. And why, like I said, going back to the Taylor Marshall show or going back to Church Militant, the reason why they're so popular, it's not because they're just blabbing, like a very popular comedic podcast. They're telling some truth. And a lot of us are drawn to the truth. And that's why you see a lot of Catholics like myself who went away from the church, lukewarm, who, wait a second. The Eucharist is the body of Christ? What? like I thought it was symbolism. What's going on with my faith? So it's like, when you know the truth, you kind of are like, I'm hungry for it. And I'm still, to tell you the truth, Adrian, I'm very hungry for the truth. There's a lot I need to learn about the faith. And I feel like I'm growing with everybody. When you're watching these shows and trailers from the Christian Channel, I'm there with you. I'm still growing. And I don't think we'll ever stop growing. So I think what you're doing, Adrian, is with your content. Can you just share with me what's the future of Borichamo? What's the future of your channel? Because I'm a big fan.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, the goal of this is, like you're saying, it's when you learn about history. I mean, you're learning a little bit more about your faith. I mean, you're learning about, all these men, all these women who have sacrificed so much, giving their lives, who have, there's blood, sweat, and tears into forming the world that we live in today, right? And for me, first. Getting into history, it kind of changed my life for me, right? And when you start learning about everything that people have done for us, it's something that changes your perspective. And I feel like that's something that's missing sometimes, because we live pretty comfortable lives nowadays. We can have a lot of things at our disposal, but it wasn't so comfortable for people back in the day, and for a lot of people still it isn't, And so really with Borichamo, the mission is just to just get into history, without, cynicism or, kind of talking down and saying like, oh, these people who lived before were so stupid. They're so dumb. Like, we're so smart because I have an iPhone, I don't know how the iPhone works. I'll be honest, but these people knew how their stuff worked in their day, So it doesn't make me any better. It doesn't make me any smarter. It just makes me somebody who's interested in learning about the forebears and all these forefathers, who have been there and done that. So, really the goal is just to continue learning each and every day. I have Lights of the Saints series. So I've covered St. Patrick and St. George. Awesome. St. George are really patron saint of a lot of crusaders, because he's very classic for slaying the dragon. So Very, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. So Life of the Saints have been working on history of Florida, and that's been very popular, and I think that's been really fun to make, because it's very funny, because when you look at it, it was one of the oldest, earliest settled places in the United States, but still sort of one of the newest places. It's very strange like that. And yeah, I just want to continue focusing a little bit more, some works about California, some videos about Colorado that are going to be made in the future. So, we're looking into it. And we're going to continue learning, continue having fun, and just not being, snidey or, snarky about what's about these things, but just really enjoying it, and just celebrating heroes, celebrating heroism.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. So you have the history of Florida coming up. You have the history of California, really just the history of North America. I mean, that's exciting, because I grew up in Southern California. I grew up in Los Angeles, in not so glamorous part of Los Angeles, the south of Wilshire and Crenshaw. I mean, now it's Hipsterville, but when I grew up as a kid, I was the scruffy skateboarder at 9 years old, on the corner of Wilshire and Crenshaw. But I will tell you, man, what's really sad this past summer with Junipero Serra and the destruction of the Catholic Church. And if you follow Catholic history, this is not new. The persecution of the Catholic faith is going on today. It's going on in the Middle East. You see bits of history repeating itself, and I feel like you are on the team. What Taylor Marshall would say, you're on the team. Well, if you pray the rosary, you're on the team. But, we have to be public figures now. I mean, not saying that, we're running for office, but we have to be in front of the camera and to raise our voices, because I do have to be honest with you. I am pro-life. My girlfriend has been in the pro-life movement for over 10 years, walking for life. She's walked from San Francisco to DC, praying her rosary from there. I mean, she's a saint in the making, and but I feel the attacks already have come. So as a Southern Angelino, one of our missions was burned, the San Gabriel mission. And I'm going to tell you a secret story. I was at the San Gabriel mission the day it burned, at the aftermath, and I put a video online that went viral, and Facebook blocked it. They blocked me from interviewing people saying, how do you feel that the San Gabriel missions burnt down? And it wasn't fake. I mean, literally men were in the background sweeping up the ashes, and Facebook blocked me, and YouTube wouldn't put it on there. So there obviously is some manipulation in the media behind the attacks and not being vocal about it. I think the people attacking, I'm not going to say parties what they're in, but I could tell you as just a human being, just taking a step back, these people are hurt, and they might have been hurt and affiliating the Catholic faith with abuse and scandal. And the truth is, that's not our faith. And I feel the people that are hurt, they're weak people. They probably live at home with their basement and they don't have a voice. That's probably like the trolls that you see online. And they get involved with the movement and they don't even know what they're doing. I think their enemy is really not the church. It's probably within themselves. And, that's just my opinion, right? What do I know? But I could tell you the actions taken is definitely a play-by-play from the Cristero War in Mexico. It's a same exact, I'm sure, I hope, God willing, you could talk about the history of the Cristero War. I don't know if you could tell, but my mom is from San Miguel Los Altos in Mexico. And the biggest trait of ours is the big forehead. I'm not going bald. I've always had a big forehead. But if you go to San Miguel Los Altos, where they produce tequila, a lot of us are pale white, blonde hair, blue eyes. I just got the brown eyes of the family. So, and, my dad's Irish, but, the Cristero War is a play-by-play of what California almost became. The government should have stepped up. They should have found the guys who did the arsenal attack on the California mission. And Junipero Serra came here as a, I don't know if he's a saint, Adrian. My history, I'm sure you're better at history than me.
Yeah. He's canonized as a saint in 2015 by Pope Francis.
Yeah. And, I grew up in California, Southern California. And as a kid, our projects were to build a California mission. So I just feel, that it's not an ideology that's supporting this. It's just the actions. It's like, what's next on the play-by-play is obviously the persecution of the priests and the nuns next. So actually physically attacking them. And then afterwards, it's attacking us. It's attacking the lay people, and it's not new. This happened
Not new.
also in the.
Yeah, I mean, you know this. I mean, in Spain, it happened. In Mexico, the Cristero Wars, it happened in Russia. It's happening in the Middle East currently. I mean, it's a reality. It's just a reality. And anybody who wants to say, it's not happening or it's downplayed or something, I mean, it's just true. It's just true. And that's really the importance of educating people on the history, because I started looking into Junipero Serra when it was announced, that they were tearing down his statues and stuff like that. I'm like, really? This guy was canonized, by, just 5 years ago, and now everyone's just, tearing down his statue. Like, what's going on here? So I looked into it, and you realize that he was quite the opposite. I mean, this guy was a champion of Native American rights. He was sort of the first one to write a Bill of Rights for Native Americans in the United States. And that was just eye-opening for me. And that there's so much stuff like that. I mean, even just the Spanish Empire in general, the rights allowed to, people who weren't Spanish or people who were whatever. I mean, they were all united by their faith. They were all, united by being part of this, in Spanish, you call it hispanidad. It's this term just for Hispanicity. I'm not sure if there's an equivalent term in English, but it's that, these things that were separating or dividing people could still be reconciled in some ways by things that were more important, like your faith.
Absolutely. And, Adrian, I'm really excited for the future of your channel. I think I already see so many people are going to be so happy to subscribe to your channel and to know more of the history of Florida, know the history of Mexico, the history of how Spain came over. Come on. I mean, I haven't seen that yet on YouTube. So hopefully in the near future, when you build up a big enough audience where you're like, hey, Austin, I have this show idea about the Spaniards coming to Mexico or to Florida. I was like, okay, let's do it. And so I'm not afraid of producing content that's dangerous. I mean, when you look at the Knights of the Cross trailer, I'm not going to say, but some people were bucked off that horse and they really did fall. And they, these bruises are legit. So when you want to do, when you want to do shows about violence and history and Christendom, it's going to be on the Christian channel. And we're not afraid of blood. There's a lot of blood. I'm going to tell you one last story before we go. I was at a movie studio that has a very famous movie set of Jerusalem. And they said, okay, Christian channel, it's $20,000 a week. I shouldn't have said that, but this much money and tell us what's the show about? It's like, it's about the Crusades. It's like, is there any sex? I was like, no sex. Is there any violence? I was like, it's the Crusades. There's tons of violence. And they literally just yanked. It's kind of like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when they throw the guy out of the door. That's how they threw me out. And I was like, and I told Joe, I was like, let's just build our own movie studio, man. And we talked to a few people that own Christian universities in Southern California. And I think in the future, when there's millions of dollars invested, not just in this show, but in other projects, I think don't be surprised when Christian Channel builds a studio, a set. We call it a set, which is just plywood. And really, it's not as hard as you think it is. But it sucks. But I mean, the solution right now, Adrian, with content, I know we're going past our time, but just our content is we're not afraid of traveling the world. Spain is a big option, and I think we talked offline. None of us on set know how to speak Spanish, so we're going to have to drag you along with us.
Por supuesto. Yeah, but I guess that's the most important part, is that independence, because like you're saying, as Christians, as Catholics, it's so important that we do have that independence, because there's so much that is against us, and to have that leeway to do what you need to do to get the message you want to get across, to get that out, is so important. And sometimes it's only really possible if you're doing it independently. So I mean, that's really the importance of it. Some people might not understand why it's crowdfunded or something like that, but if you're trying to look for the funds, for a lot of funds, and you're not getting them from independent people, I mean, sometimes they want to make you compromise your vision and make you compromise in that. But
Right.
it's been a pleasure to have you on my first episode of the Borichamo podcast. So it's Lacrosse. It's going to be coming out soon, correct?
Monday, May 24th. And
Trailer,
we're pretty,
yeah.
yeah, for the trailer, Monday, May 24th. And our campaign ends April 1st of 2021. So like I said before, regardless the show, whether it's a pilot or the full season, just understand to your audience that if you make this happen, not me, but the reason why it's authenticity, true history, the real Crusade history, not the Hollywood Crusade history. Because like I said before, it's not about the money. If we wanted to get the money, this is an easy process. The problem is it's telling the story accurately. So through your support, go to thechristianchannel.com and go click crowdfund films and donate either $35, or if you want to be on the show, $5,000, and you'll be able to come on set, whether it's in Spain or North America, to be a part of this amazing crusade to make Knights of the Cross a reality. So thank you, Adrian, for so much support. And a lot of people don't know, Adrian's known about this project for how long, Adrian?
Man, it's been it's been like almost a year. I mean, it's been a while. It's been a while. Yeah. It's hard to keep a lid on it sometimes, but I'm very grateful to sort of introduce this to my audience today. People, if you can, do consider supporting Christian channel. Do support me on Patreon, because again, the independence is very crucial to keep this good content coming out, this good, solid history coming out. So yeah, Austin, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Now we come to the close. We come close the end of the first episode. So thanks everyone for watching, and God bless you.
God bless.